The minute you start becoming the cheapest person on the block and your whole pitch is, oh, I'm just going to keep dropping my price to get more customers. Oh man, that type of customer makes you want to put your head through a wall. Learn from us. Don't make that mistake off the rip. Are you wrapping cars more than 12 hours a day, every day? Working nonstop but can barely get by? Burnout, missing deadlines, and wondering just how much longer you can keep this up?
That was us too. We started our wrap shop buried under $250,000 in debt, and it felt absolutely impossible. But we dug out, built a profitable shop, and are still in the trenches of owning and operating a wrap shop. We're here to share what we learned along the way so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did.
And we're here to help you with the business side of the wraps, like pricing, building a team, streamlining your systems, ultimately so that you can run your shop and your shop stops running you.
Welcome to the Wrap Ops Podcast, brought to you by Wrap Fam Unleashed. Cool. Super excited for today's episode because we are answering a question that was submitted on our website by a listener, just like you guys listening out there. So if this is your first time ever listening to the Wrap Ops podcast, welcome to it. We hope you get some value out of it and some ways to help your wrap shop. And you picked a really awesome episode to jump into because we got a question from a listener. We're going to address it vaguely here because we want it to be appealing to everyone out there. And as we all know, there's a lot of different types of wrap shops, so more than one way to skin a cat. But if you didn't know, you can pop over to wrapops.com and submit a question if you would like your question to be answered on here. So we hope we can promote a pretty good community on here and help each other all solve problems, because if your shop's in California and mine's in Ohio, why can't we work together? It's that simple.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it.
Cool. So, all right. First up, listener question is how do we stand out in an oversaturated market with several local shops that appear to be successful? Obviously, we're not sure if they actually are. So you can't stand out until you have a good, solid customer base. So there's some additional background to this question. It seemed like this person is a little newer to the game. They're kind of starting out. We have to draw some assumptions here that they just do not have a good customer base. They don't have employees. It's just them. So this actually sparked a lot of, it's like my biggest problem to solve really is just getting the phone to ring essentially. And from that is with building that kind of base before you can stand out, you have to walk the walk before you can talk the talk. It's kind of hard to say you're super good at anything if you don't have a bunch of a good customer base or evidence behind you to show that. So the real issue here essentially is sales. So from that, the kind of check out our scheduling without chaos for like the full IDS method here. But essentially the IDS method, when I hear this question of sales, is you essentially have one of two problems. It's either lead generation, you're just not getting the phone to ring, or it's your close ratio. Close ratio is kind of a whole nother thing. Actually go back to our, if you're having a close ratio issue, go back to our last episode. The follow-up is like the biggest thing you could possibly do to help with the close ratio. But for this episode, we're going to go under the assumption that it's a lead generation problem and kind of go into it there. Do you want to jump into the first one here?
Yeah. So I would say the very first one is don't shoot yourself in the foot by trying to compete by lowering your price.
Yeah.
So if that is like your, I don't know, like your ammo and your gun of like, oh, I'm going to lower my price and then I'm going to beat everyone by doing that, that is definitely a Band-Aid solution and it won't last long term. And so then of course the next question is how do you come up with your pricing? And while we could definitely have a whole episode on the math behind your pricing, because of course you need to cover your cost, when it is just you in say, let's say your garage, your math is pretty simple there. Just I don't know if you're factoring in your mortgage as part of your rent for your shop, or if you're renting a house, but you pretty much just have your own time and then the cost of the material. You get real nitty gritty and how much does a squeegee cost, but that's pretty nominal.
Yeah, and I was going to say with that, I don't think you also need to pay attention to what your market is like charging for wraps as well. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer that the guy or girl in the garage shouldn't be charging the same price as a full-fledged operation with sales reps and managers and a whole team of installers. There should be a little bit of a price difference there. kind of obviously, but it shouldn't be so drastic that the person in the garage can then never grow. Because if you are known to be the cheap installer, you'll never be able to get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think, oh, I'm not closing sales because I've talked to three people and all three said they can't afford, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. So naturally, that means I need to start chopping my prices. You really just have a volume issue. You don't have enough leads. If you've only quoted three people, you just haven't quoted enough people.
Yeah. So, and I think with your pricing too, you have to take into account the value that you bring, which also kind of goes into your sales pitch when
Yeah.
you're on the phone with people. So, if you do get a phone call, how do you not absolutely flop it?
Right.
So, if they say, why is your price this price? Or, hey, you're too expensive, what is your counter to that? And I think the big thing here is how do you prove that you're awesome instead of persuade
Yeah.
that you're awesome. So you need to kind of list out what areas of value you bring to the table, and they're going to be different based off of the type of shop that you're operating. So if you're a guy or a girl in a garage, you have a different pros and cons list than someone like us that has more of the brick and mortar, more
Yeah.
employees, more staff. So one could argue one is better than another, and there are certain customers that like certain types over the other. We've had customers that leave because our vibe was too professional. And that's fine because that's what we market to. So if you're kind of going for the cool car guy that wants to sit around and watch you rap, then that's a totally different market than what me and you are after.
Right.
Typically, those are priced accordingly with that in mind. So you can kind of market. Do you have different departments running certain things, or are you marketing that you are like a one man show concierge service? So you're going to get me from start to finish. I'm going to see every single detail all the way through. You have one point of contact. There's no confusion. You could totally run and market with that. We run and market with, we have steps of every process. You will get, frictionlessly passed along the
Right.
way. I pay someone to sit there and answer phones so that there's someone available to you 24/7. So there's pros and cons to each. So you need to really identify your value, and by first identifying what type of shop are you and what are your goals. Like you said, do you want to hire someone or not? If you just wanted to be just you the whole time, I guess you could have that lower pricing model, but you're just shooting yourself in the foot if you
Yeah.
decide later on to change it.
And as politically correct as I can possibly say it
Oh,
as
no.
well. The minute you start becoming the cheapest person on the block and your whole pitch is, oh, I'm just going to keep dropping my price to get more customers. Oh man, that type of customer makes you want to put your head through a wall. Like just learn from us. Don't make that mistake off the rip.
Yeah.
Be okay with someone saying no, like have enough, just kind of pride in your work and yourself that no, this is the price. I'm firm in it. Hopefully you've done some research and you've done kind of what we just talked about, the factoring into as to why your price is that much. And don't discredit yourself because you are learning a skill like this.
Yeah.
They're not hiring you to do something because they know how to do it. As much as they say like, oh, I could do it, I just don't have time. They can't do it.
Well, and we may have mentioned this earlier on the podcast, but if someone says, I have a buddy who can do it for cheaper, you're allowed to say, well, respectfully, why aren't you going with the buddy? Because almost always they will say, because they do this, or I don't want to deal with this. And you go, well, that's what I'm offering that person is not.
Yeah.
And just kind of sit there in silence and wait. So, yeah, don't discredit yourself for sure on the pricing. Be okay with someone saying it. I mean, we still get it to this day. And I think we've more than proven ourselves in our space and in our local area. And people just don't do research. And sometimes people are just kind of jerks. And I think it's
Yeah.
easier to be mad at you for your price being high than to say, I can't afford that. So sometimes it's just kind of, I don't know, maybe like a defense mechanism some people have
Yeah,
on
I
pricing.
mean our number one rejection reason is overprice, which I don't think that's uncommon. Like I don't think we're a unicorn for that, but our number one rejection is for price. No matter, and we've increased our price. We've raised our price over the years. It's never not been price is the number one reason that someone didn't go with us.
Yeah.
So you just have to be okay with that. We could do a whole nother podcast in qualifying the buyer and making sure you're having that kind of ballpark conversation up front. But anyway,
To wrap up those points of value that you can bring to a customer, not everything has to be you can wrap a car beautifully, and that's why you should go with me. So, the other points of value that we kind of brainstormed were, are you friendly? So, people can obviously see through that BS really quickly. If you have a front desk person, they need to be very friendly as well.
Hmm.
And I know sometimes it's hard to be friendly when a customer is frustrating, but it will pay off. So, just soft corners. You can do it. Be approachable. Your years of experience, people will ask that. How many years have you been in the business? So that's always good. And of course, that takes time to rack
Hmm.
up. Previous clients who can vouch for your integrity, especially if you could like give out their email or number and just say, hey, email this client and ask how I do. And I'm sure they'll give you an honest response of the work that I've done. That goes a long way. Which, speaking of reviews, your Google reviews, number
Yeah,
of honest reviews, that's huge. I
that's
remember when
huge.
our Google page had like 10, and it
Hmm.
was like my life mission to get it above 100. That was like my big goal. I
Yeah,
wanted triple digits. Um, and yeah, I mean, think about when you go to a restaurant, you probably quickly look up a review real fast.
yeah,
So I think the number really helps. If you have like 3 red flag, I wouldn't go anywhere that has 3 reviews. I'd be nervous about that.
agreed, agreed.
And then your notoriety online. So, what does your online presence look like? If they go to your Facebook, your Instagram, have you posted in a year? Sometimes
Hmm.
you go to a page, it hasn't posted in a year. And I think that's almost like, I don't know if you can, but you almost need to take the page down if you're
Yeah.
going to do that because it looks like you're out of business.
Hmm.
So, making sure you have that notoriety online. Do you have a frictionless process? So, that's something me and you vouch really hard on of like when you work with us, it's going to be super easy. What is your process like with you as the business owner? And yeah, so that's pretty much it on lowering your price. And just like we said, make sure you know your goal. Do you want one person or do you want 20?
Yeah,
And go from there.
yeah.
So,
No, I think for anyone starting out, that's perfect. Uh, Perfect. Like, think about where you're trying to go, and then don't forget your value.
yeah. All right. So that's it. So don't lower your price. Okay. Moving on. Go ahead.
Cool. So the next one to essentially trying to get the phone to ring is start with who you know. So this is super fun, and if you just started your wrap shop for the first time or whatever, you're early on. What you probably didn't realize is you're actually a sales rep. So if you hate sales, sucks to be you. You got to learn it.
That
Uh,
was me.
yeah, that's. I think that's the one kind of um, I don't know, just misunderstanding of yes, you're going to get into a business and you're wrapping cars. So you're like, I'm an awesome, vehicle wrapper. But actually, now you're a business owner, which means wrapping the car is one of 30 other hats that you have to wear. And to solve this problem of getting the leads is now you have to put on your sales rep hat. And what I would say to start out here is obviously start with who you know. This is like straight out of like a Mary Kay playbook, but it works. If you're going to be a realtor, a sales rep, if you're going to go sell memberships at the local gym, this is how you're going to start. Open up your phone, go through your contacts list, and you are going to call literally everyone and just let them know what you do. That's where we're going to start because everyone that already knows you needs to know you're now a business owner and you wrap cars as your business. They need to hear your name and it be just synonymous with your business name. If you're showing up, we're around the holidays here, when you show up to Thanksgiving and Christmas and you see the family members that haven't seen you all year and 2 years, if they don't ask you how business is, you failed because there's family members that I'm showing up to Christmas with, I could not tell you what they do for a living
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter if like they're not shouting it to the rooftops. So,
It helps that Andrew only wears branded clothing, like our branding.
mhm,
Like right now, you have on wrap ups,
yeah,
but sometimes we'll have on performance
mhm,
wraps. It's almost always
yeah.
even
My
family photos, our baby shower. You're in a wrap ups polo.
my undershirt right now is a performance wrap shirt.
Yeah.
So,
So he takes that very seriously as well. And I think that's also like a subliminal thing. Like people always like it reminds them, oh yeah.
mhm,
So they'll say, how's performance reps? And we got a lot this past Thanksgiving. So you have a podcast?
mhm,
And we got a lot of people asking about the podcast as well. So I say all this to prove your point that it works. And we even have random people from high school who will message us
yeah,
let me rephrase this. Random people from high school who will message you because you did this to your contact list and I didn't,
Mhm.
because this one does make me nervous, and I think that's the interesting perspective of both of us. Is you're so awesome at like the sales stuff and I'm more timid on that side. Um, but people message you and are asking to get coffee with you and to pick your brain and stuff like that. And I don't think that would have happened if 5, 7 years ago you didn't like shoot them a message. That is what we're talking about right now, saying, "Hey, I have a wrap shop."
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing you're going for is we're not expecting your cousin to buy a wrap from you, but we are hoping that your cousin, from now until eternity, every time is in a conversation where a potential, like, someone needs someone to wrap, you're top of mind because you called them, you told them what you were doing, they know you, they hopefully already like and trust you, so they're going to give you that referral without being your customer. So, look, that's all we're going for here is we want everyone in your contact list to know what you are doing, that you are wrapping cars now, so that you are their wrap shop
Yeah, and most
whenever that
people
comes
want
up.
to help you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
most people want to help you.
I think in today's day and age, things have gotten a little negative, and you think everyone's out to get you,
Mhm.
but most people actually want to have a guy or a girl for everything, and so they want to say, "Oh, I actually know someone. You should give them a call." And then bonus points for you if they can send your Google reviews or your Facebook page or something, and it's awesome.
Mhm.
Now, of course, if you're rocking like a 2 star on Google, they might not refer you.
Yeah,
That might be embarrassing.
that's a whole nother podcast. If you're
Yeah,
putting out bad work, like, just stop because getting more people to know that you put out bad work is not going to help
yeah,
you.
that'll be harder. And then on top of that, so you talked about calling, texting these
Mhm.
clients. Also, that's a huge thing on Facebook to invite them to like your business page.
Absolutely.
Do you want to tell people how you do that? Because you've always done that. And I believe you just did this for Wrap Ops, actually. So if you're not following us on Facebook, we're on Instagram.
Yeah,
Shameless plug. Please go follow us.
absolutely.
Wonderful content.
We'll go ahead and pause there for just a second so you can go ahead and jump over, like us, follow us.
There you go.
All right, now we're back. Um,
That was quick.
so you might have to hit the pause button. Um, so if you go to your Facebook page, and fun fact, you can actually do this for any page, but go to your own Facebook page,
Personal or business?
business page.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, good clarification there. So
Mhm.
go to your business page, and it's in one of the like. It's not hard to find. I don't know, like, click here, go here. It's also Facebook, so like every update it moves a little bit, but it's literally just in like one of the little hamburger menus. When you click it, it'll say invite friends,
Mhm.
and then it'll open up your entire friends list. I think you can send like 500 up front and then like
There's a
100 a
cap,
day or
unless they
something like
got
that.
rid of it. You've hit the cap a few
Oh,
times.
yeah. Facebook and LinkedIn both have this feature
Mhm.
that if you just go to your page, hunt one of those little hamburger menus, and it'll say invite friends and it'll open up your whole friends list. They usually even put in a little select all button so you don't even have to uh, go through and actually weed like through
Mhm.
them. Be like, oh, should I potentially invite this one person from like? Stop thinking about it.
Just do it.
Just invite all of them.
It doesn't matter. If
The
they send you a message saying, "Why'd you send me this?" Whatever.
the absolute worst case scenario, if they hate your guts, they'll just ignore it.
Yeah.
So just send it to everyone.
Yeah. And the reason that you wanna do that, which we'll touch on in a different episode coming up here soon, but that is going to help with your engagement on your social media when you have people that you
Hmm.
know that are following you, because they're more likely to like it, interact with it, versus trying to get a random person who's never met you before to try to interact with your post. Much harder.
Yeah,
So it kinda just gives you a little bit of
credit,
oomph to get the start.
gives you credibility.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last one is ask for those reviews from previous clients. So you already probably have some clients. Even if you wrapped their car a year ago,
Hmm.
it doesn't hurt to say, "Hey, I'm trying to build up my Google page. I think it would really help my business. Is there any way that you could take a second and here's the link?" And it's always easier, I've found, if you like text them this because it has the link. You could email as well. I've found more professional people like email, meaning you're more business if you do commercial wraps, versus your enthusiasts or the people that are just doing color change, shoot them a
Hmm.
text. It depends on your relationship, but you have to be able to put that link in there, because if they have to go search your name, and they're not going to do it,
Yeah,
you need to make it like one click away. So go ahead
exactly.
and do that. And then you just need to make it a thing, or your future clients that you're just asking as soon as it's over
Yeah.
for a review, however you decide to automate that.
And like the best Google review you can get is something that's personally written from the customer, obviously, They personally write something nice and they attach photos. That is like the holy grail of the perfect review. You're just trying to get your first 10 to 25.
Yeah.
If your mom just gives you a 5-star review, doesn't write anything, just take the win and move on. It's not like you only have one mom, so it's one review, but at this point, you're just trying to get your numbers up. You're trying to get more than one 5-star review.
Mhm.
But it really the holy grail is reach out to the customer, someone who's actually done work for you, who can write, "Hey, this is how awesome this experience was, and here's pictures of the completed work."
Mhm.
That is the holy grail.
Yeah, and the whole point of that is because the pictures aren't being posted by you. And if you aren't super familiar with your Google My Business page, which if you have not claimed that and you're not getting reviews, that's like step negative one.
Yep.
But the whole point of that is there's actually a tab where it will say photos uploaded by the owner and then photos uploaded by what does it say? Not the owner.
I think just by customers.
By
Yeah.
customers, I
Mhm.
forget the word there, but it basically means the owner didn't upload these.
Mhm.
So that is typically where I like to look. Going back to the restaurant thing, I
Mhm.
love seeing the pictures that customers post of their food
Yeah.
versus going to the website fully and seeing, well, because of course they're going to use the
Mhm.
most beautiful pictures that they ever had. So it's always nice when you have a customer that uploads photos, and it doesn't need to be some crazy fully edited thing, just a happy customer, a picture
Yeah.
of your car, and you're like, sweet, that person's real. Looks like they got the work done. Love it.
Yeah. And we could go on a whole actually, we will end up having a follow-up, podcast to go a little deeper into that, but from just like, Google also likes that.
Mhm.
So when Google sees that a customer reviewed you, attach their own photos of it from like just an SEO standpoint, Google is going to find you more favorable.
Yeah.
So those are the holy grail to standing out online.
Yeah. So awesome. So that's pretty much it on leaning on the people you have already interacted
Mhm.
with is kind of the gist there. And then our third point is if you are new to the industry, trying to get your clients and you're just trying to get started out, why not go be a subcontractor for the shop that you're talking about that is apparently doing really well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one, I would say if you're starting out, the number one goal is for you to be rapping full time as your sole source of income. That's step number one, goal number one. It also adds that level of credibility back to everything that we just talked about.
Hmm.
If you have full-time job and this is side hustle versus I wrap cars full time for a living, it's a very different sentence. It's a very different stature that you present. Even if 50% of your work is subcontract work from those other local shops that
Customers don't typically know that though. So that's kind of like a little ace in your pocket
yeah,
of what's the difference between subcontract work and you sold the job. And at the end of the day, they typically don't care.
right.
It's like, I installed this. Here
Mhm.
it is. Here's
Yeah.
my proof. So, yeah, and the big thing here is you have to be able to swallow your ego and not think that that business owner hates you because you're a quote unquote competitor down the street. Because especially if you're kind of not stacking up those sales, you're probably not even on their radar
Yeah.
to begin with. So, we've had a decent bit of installers from other shops or
Mhm.
whatnot come in and want to be a subcontractor and love it. Like, shout out to anyone listening that's local that
Mhm.
wants to come rap with us.
Yeah.
We actually have even a page on our website that they can kind of fill out almost like a application, if you will, for a
Mhm.
subcontractor because we're always needing extra help. So it never hurts. So it's a nice thing when someone walks in and wants to help out your shop
Yeah.
as an installer because installers are pretty hard to come by because there's not schools pumping them out like
Yeah.
there is HVAC, plumbing, whatever there may be.
Yeah. I think if we just boil down wrap shop problems just as to the bare minimum that we can, you essentially either have a sales problem, which is what we're talking about mostly here,
Hmm.
or you have a fulfillment problem.
Yeah, which is how
It's
many people can wrap cars.
Yeah, it's usually one or the other. It's
Yeah.
either you need help selling or you've sold so much you just need help getting it done.
Yeah.
So, if you're in the sales problem category, then go find those successful shops that we had identified in the beginning and ask them if they need help on the fulfillment side
Mhm.
while you figure out the sales part for your own business.
Yeah.
And then that relationship is just going to serve you well into the future anyway. Um, because you might even get referrals from it, or they might sell, maybe 3 years down the road, you don't really like contract out for them a whole lot because you got full time work or whatever. But when they sell some massive project, you had good relationship there. They know you go do good work. They're going to call you in to help you out on that massive project or on that project that they just couldn't swing in time. So they brought you in. That we just did that with a contractor that works for us. We're almost 80 to probably above 90% of our work is just our W-2, internal team. And I had a customer, is a good customer of ours, that called and needed something turned like the next week. No chance that we were going to be able to do that. So I was like, well, give me just a second. Called the contractor, friend of ours, and asked him if there was any way he could turn it on this customer's timeline because we couldn't fulfill it, but I didn't want to just drop the customer and let him down. So, good example of that from the side of we have a fulfillment problem, we don't have a sales problem. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good symbiotic relationship there. So if you're an awesome installer, get with the person that's good at sales
yeah.
and partner there. And then another thing I wanted to touch on with that is you have to have a little bit of like professionalism about you when you
Mhm.
walk in to try to be a contractor for this business.
Yeah.
So treat it a little bit like a job interview. Like, look nice, come with a portfolio ready. It doesn't need to be like printed out, but I can't tell you how many times we've had people walk in like super casual and like throw their Instagram in my face and they just want me to scroll.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time telling quality of work from like far away Instagram photos because I know cars can look great from 10 feet away, but I want to see it close up. So maybe you could ask like, is there any car in the shop? Maybe I could throw a piece and just show you my quality,
Mhm.
or just that. Or the next time I wrap something, would you like to come check it out, so that you can kind of prove your quality to them? And I know for us, our biggest pain point, and it seems to be pretty common in the industry, is do you hit deadlines?
Yeah.
I would just immediately like use that as your sales pitch of like most important thing to me is quality and deadlines.
Yeah.
If a sub said those two words, I would take them so seriously,
Yeah. Like,
but
let's
I'd want
go.
them to prove it.
Of
But
course.
I would take it very seriously because it's common you get someone who's awesome, but they cannot hit a deadline, and that just causes so much chaos for
Yeah.
us that it's not worth it.
And I think like, we want to work with professionals, whether that's a contractor or an employee, it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's a side of every industry. Rap industry is, not immune to it. I don't want to deal with the installer that is just looking for a quick check to go, you know, buy their cocaine or something like that. Like, show up, be professional. The that shop that you are trying to sub for is your customer. It's a job interview, but like at the end of the day, they're a customer of yours. You serve them a little differently than the direct customer, but they're still your customer. You are helping serve their customers.
Yeah, and to kind of demonstrate that on our personal business, like we just were talking about our contact list of clients, we have its own segmentation.
Hmm.
We call it graphic companies,
Yeah.
but if we were subbing for another shop often, I would put them in there
Yeah.
because it's just basically like these are the shops that we don't typically talk directly to the customer, we talk to them,
Hmm.
but they always send us out. So our marketing is a little bit different for them, their process is a little bit different, but we still try to keep that level of professionalism and care there. So don't treat them, like you said, don't treat them any different than you would a normal customer.
Yeah.
Or you'll mess up that relationship. And then it's also not good because you might just have the type of business owner that instead of trying to like sell the job and sub you out, they might just refer them to you. They might be
Hmm.
so busy that they're just like, call this number, maybe they can help you.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common too. So you want to be on their good side because the worst thing you can do is rub them the wrong way. And then the word spreads about that because that person probably knows a lot of local customers.
Yeah.
And so when they say, oh, well, I'm getting a quote from you and from so and so, they're going to go, oh, maybe be careful around so and so.
Yeah.
But, you know, sad part, but that's it. But anyway, so your goal when you go in, I would just walk in, ask if you can talk to who's in charge of scheduling or hiring installers in the buildings at the owner. Maybe it's not. And your goal is to get their phone number. And maybe they don't give it out. Maybe you just have that shop's phone number. But like we said, one of the last episodes is all about follow up.
Yep.
So just make sure that you're calling. They may be super busy in that exact moment that you talk to them,
Hmm.
and then it completely leaves their brain. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to us. But then the person calls back or stops back by, and it's as simple as like, "Hey, do you have any jobs you need help with?"
Yeah.
Don't respond. Text it again. Do it again because eventually they're going to need help, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that person."
Yeah. I mean,
So,
you're again, go to that follow up one, but you're just trying to stay top of mind.
mhm,
And, they may not have a project or something you can help them with right now, but in 2 weeks, just that additional just poke, just reminder that you're still alive and there to help them, is just to help keep top of mind so that maybe when they do get in a pinch or they do have an influx of a lot of sales and a customer isn't willing to wait 6 weeks for the project, they can still sell it and bring you in. So,
yeah, and document your work while you're there, so that you can build your portfolio and your credibility and add that to your content and whatnot if that shop allows you to. And the last big thing I wanted to note on subbing out for another shop to help yourself, if they do call you and say this customer complained, something's messed up,
oh, yeah,
you need to go back and fix it.
absolutely.
Even if you're annoyed about it,
Hmm.
just go back and fix it because you have to think this one customer is getting you multiple jobs. So you just want to do it because it's not just a one-off customer, and get it fixed. And possibly, I would say, it's always easier. I think if you have a plan for, hey, what happens if a fix comes up? Is that on you? Is that on me? So I know with our subcontractors, we like to send just a packet, is what we
Hmm.
call it, project workflow packet, and it goes through everything of like, hey, if you miss the deadline, this is the repercussions of it. If you need a reprint, it comes out of your check. Just all these kind of gray area things that when we've been subbed out before, it's like handshake agreement and there's no clarity there, but it's like black and white. I write the deadline, I attach the proof, I say what type of material it is. If there's anything special, they need to know where the location is. Are you installing it at your shop or at my shop? All of those things. So it's all, I like to get rid of the gray area. It's probably a flaw of mine.
Yeah, I don't think it's a I don't think it's a flaw.
But anywho, so bonus points if you can try to get that person that you're working with to get on the same page to that extent with you. But I would say that's typically more on the person paying you to set those boundaries and tone in the first place. So anyway, if you're doing all of this, you're still working on your lead generation, and then that's when hopefully the phone starts ringing, and then you'll start working on how to close those leads, which is an episode for another day.
Yeah, absolutely. And to just kind of, I don't know, hopefully motivate you, keep going. Getting started, getting the phone to ring is like by far the hardest problem to solve. I think this literally comes from like Mark Cuban. And his advice pretty much was like, you can only chop expenses so much. Like, you'll never be able to get expenses to zero, but you can always try to sell more. So, like,
Mhm.
getting the phone to ring is by far the hardest thing to possibly do, but you gotta start slow, you gotta get that momentum going. I've made connections and stuff like that over the years that it might have taken a year and a half before it actually turned into real money and a lead and the phone to ring, and you gotta get that snowball rolling. So, I love that this was the question that came up because it was something that I hadn't really thought about in a minute. You know, knock on wood, we've solved the get the phone to ring problem.
But
Um,
there were times that we used to call our own phone to make sure that it worked.
oh my gosh, that
So,
was well, yeah, yeah.
and bringing it back to when you said people used to ask, like when we go home for Christmas or whatever, and they're like, "How's the business?" And you used to say, "Well, the phone's ringing, so we're good."
Yeah,
That was
that
always your
that
answer.
was literally always my answer is,
Yeah.
like, the phone's ringing, I'd rather solve any other problem.
Yeah, because it is arguably the hardest.
Yep.
And I will say from being married to you and running this business with you, the most stressed I've ever seen you is when the phone's not ringing.
Yeah.
So like to the point, I can't tell you how many times you're like, pull up the website, check it. I need you to post everything, send out a mailer. We need to
Mhm.
start dialing. Like it's like I'm like Andrew, we gotta calm down
Yeah.
a little bit. But this man doesn't stress about anything else except when the phone isn't ringing. So I say all this to say it's probably not a glamorous answer that we gave you on how to stand out in the market, but that the very first thing is like you have to get the phone to ring, and so we wanted to start there.
Yeah, no, the to that point, getting the phone to ring, knock on doors, literally whatever you have to do to just get in front of people. Small shout out to Marcus, if you remember really early on, you and Marcus, I literally like went through little scenarios of how you were going to walk in business because it was winter and
Yes, he
wraps
sent
is
us door
somewhat
to door. I
seasonally,
like
so
shopping
yeah,
complexes
but
to
just
ask if
just
they needed any graphics. And as you've known from listening to me at this point, I did not like that, but I had to carry the team.
yeah. I mean, the phone wasn't ringing. I mean, this was year 2 or
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, we were early on and winter gets slow. So,
And I think we got like 2 clients off of it, but I
mhm,
will say it wasn't like exactly in the moment they were like, "Here's my fleet, let's do it right now." I think
mhm.
they called like 2 months later
Yeah,
and we're like, "Hey, we actually had something come up and we thought about you guys." But I will say the people geographically close to you, are typically more willing to use you because in the vehicle wrap game, they don't have to drive far,
yeah,
which is always the easiest. So, like, we're 2 blocks away from our little downtown Miamisburg and have definitely kinda infiltrated
yeah, of
that market and have a lot of customers down there. We still have some more we could get that, we could walk in and talk to. So,
course.
yeah, that's the hardest part. So, the other part to this question that I didn't want to just blow off was this person had a question about organic marketing.
Mhm.
Organic marketing, of course, meaning they're not paying for ads. Just how do you post and get that traction and get leads from it? And that I'm going to actually dedicate an entire episode to. So, in this episode, you learned how to walk the walk. The next episode, we are going to teach you how to talk the talk, which is a little bit more of my
Yeah,
expertise.
absolutely.
So, awesome. You wanna close this out?
Cool. Yeah, so, anyway, thank you for hanging out with us today.
I threw for the loop there. You
Yeah,
didn't know
I
I was gonna
wasn't
say
ready
that.
for this. Hopefully you got some value out of the episode. If you could, this is me going to my contact list of the uh, those of you that are watching here. Please like, subscribe, share this with other wrap shop owners that you know. Just as much as this person is trying to get their wrap shop off the ground, we are trying to get this podcast off the ground and to be known by as many wrap shops across the country as we possibly can. So please,
Yeah,
please, please
and
help us out.
leaving a review helps us out too because it kinda boosts us in the podcast algorithm.
Hmm.
So if you could leave a review so that other wrap shops could find us, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. And if you have a question of your own, go to wrapops.com. You'll find it on there where you can submit your question, and um, we'll probably do an episode about it.
Yeah, cool. We'll catch you in the next one.
The Wrap Institute, the largest online wrap training platform, now with a special offer. Use our code RAPOPS15 for 15% off your order.